Hello friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I hope you all are well and doing great. So today I'm back with another video to continue our UCAT test preparation. So in the last video we have completed the tools and functionality that we're going to use in the UCAT test preparation. We have learned about the drag and drop option, navigator, countdown timer, progress indicator, and many more. If you have any question, any confusion about this, you can ask me in the comment section. Okay, so now let's start our video. Today we're going to see the verbal reasoning example question. So we have 5 subtests and each one having one example question for us. So we can see that which type of questions are included in these sections. First we're going to look in the examples, then we're going to practice these subtests. Okay, first one is verbal reasoning example question. The following screen includes an example question from the verbal reasoning subtest. Practice selecting an answer and flagging the question for review. Okay, in the next screen there is an example question is given and we have to practice it by selecting a right option. We can also flag that question for review if we don't know the right option or if you want to recheck it again. Now click the next button to proceed. So if you wanted to proceed towards the next screen, then we can click the next button that is given in the bottom right corner. Here we go. So here we have the first question. This one is the progress indicator is given, as you can see, 1 of 5. It means we have 5 questions given and this one is the first out of these 5 questions. And the flag for review option is also given. If you wanted to flag this option, you can click on that flag like this. If you do not want to flag it, then we can again click on that. So first here we have in verbal reasoning there are paragraphs given in which information is required to solve our question. So here we have all the paragraphs to read. First we will read these paragraphs and there you can see the scroll bar to move it down to see the remaining part. Next we have the question and the 3 options A, B and C, which is true, false and can't tell. First you can read the question, then you can find that question line or sentence from that paragraph, that is it true, false or you can't tell. Then you can select the right option. So first we have, once the law banning drinking was repealed in 1961, most Welsh pubs opened on Sundays. So the statement is given and you have to tell, is it true, false or you just can't tell about this. And you can find the right option from these paragraphs. You can use some keywords from the statement like the 1961, or you can use the Welsh pubs, or you can use law banning drinking. These are some keywords you can use in these paragraphs to find your answer. As here we have the 1961 and also the Welsh pubs. So we can read from this without wasting a time all the paragraphs. So first we have, when this law was repealed in 1961, drinking in Welsh pub was permitted, but local councils had to hold a vote on the issue every 7 years if 500 local residents requested a local referendum. Okay, so now you can choose the right option by reading this paragraph, that is it true, false, or can't tell. Okay, so I selected the true option, so we will see is it right or not in the end. Now move towards the next section, which is decision making example question. The following screen includes an example question from the decision making subtest. Practice selecting an answer, drag and drop, and flagging the question for review. Now the next screen have an example question from the decision making. Now this portion have the drag and drop option that we already discussed in the last video. You can practice it more how you can drag your right option and drop it in the right box. Now click the next button to proceed. So here some statements are given as a question and some statements that you have to choose which one is the right and which one is the wrong. So here we have the question, which is skinks and iguanas are two different types of lizard. All dwarfs are skinks and all lizards are reptiles. Place yes if the conclusion does follow. Place no if the conclusion does not follow. So here we have two statements given. Now you have to read all the options that we have here. First one is no lizards are skinks. Second, all dwarfs are reptiles. Third one is no dwarfs are iguanas. Some reptiles are skinks. And the last option is all skinks are dwarfs. Now you can see that which option is correct and which one is not. If you think first one is the correct option, then you can drag a yes and drop it in front of this option. And if you think that all dwarfs are reptiles is the wrong option, then you can drag a no and drop it in front of it. Again, you can place the next options like the no one here and yes one in the last part, and again no in this box. Like this, you can drag your options and drop it in front of the right options. That's how you're going to solve your decision making questions and the drag and drop options. Okay, next we have quantitative reasoning example question. The following screen includes an example question from the quantitative reasoning subtest. Practice using the calculator, selecting an answer, and flagging the question for review. So in the next screen we have an example of quantitative reasoning. We will practice it, that how we're going to solve it. So the quantitative reasoning question will be appeared like this. It will be in the form of table or a graph, and then you have to take the right information from these tables or graphs, and then you can choose the correct option. So the question is, the table shows the total tax paid in dollars on annual taxable income. So first column we have annual taxable income bracket in dollars. Next is tax rate. And the next one is total tax paid at the top of this taxable income bracket. For example, a person with an annual taxable income of $60,000 will pay $4,990 plus 25% of this amount. So now here is a question that Corey has an annual taxable income equivalent to $2,500 per month. He wants to save enough money each month to pay her tax for the year. The minimum amount to the nearest dollar that Corey has to save each month is option A $250, option B $263, option C $338, option D $341, option E $375. So 5 options will be given in this portion and you have to choose the one right option. Okay, now you don't know the answer of this question, then you can flag it like this for review, that you can complete it in the last. Now move next towards the abstract reasoning example question. The following screen includes an example question from the abstract reasoning subtest. Practice selecting an answer and flagging the question for review. Now we have an example question for the abstract reasoning, which is in the form of some shapes like this. So this set A is given like this, and then we have the set B. 2 sets are given and you have to memorize these shapes of each set. Then you can come towards this question, the test shape, like this. This is the test shape. Now you have to tell that from which set this test shape is. Option A, set A, option B, set B, option C, neither. So let me select option B. I don't know this is right or wrong. We will discuss in the practice test questions. I'm just choosing it, that how we're going to choose the options. And then you can press the next button and we have the last subtest section, which is situational judgment example question. The following screen includes an example question from the situational judgment subtest. Practice selecting an answer and flagging the question for review. Click the next button to proceed. Now here we have an example of the situational judgment example question in the next screen. So situational judgment question will also be appear in some of the paragraphs. So here we have a paragraph, you can read it, and then there we have a statement. Wait until Emmy is not there and then ask Merrick how he felt about the joke. Option A very appropriate thing to do. Option B, appropriate but not ideal. Option C, inappropriate but not awful. Option D, a very inappropriate thing to do. So these are the four options, and you have to choose the right one from by reading it from the paragraph. So here you can see, one morning Amy makes what Greg interprets to be an inappropriate joke in front of Merrick. So it means the response is, or you can say the joke is inappropriate in front of Merrick. So we have the right option, it could be C or D. Inappropriate but not awful. Option D, a very inappropriate thing to do. And in the next line, he said that Marek does not say anything, but he appears to be upset. So we can say it could be the right option C, that it is inappropriate. He felt it like that, but it's not that much awful. Okay, so we selected the right option C. Let's see, move towards the next screen. And here we have the review screen. It will tell you that how much question you have completed and how much are uncompleted and how much and which one question you have flagged for review. So here we have question 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 5. So question 3, which we keep incomplete, and we flagged it just to show you how you can flag your questions and how it will appear at the end of the screen. Now you can click on the question 3 and then you can go there like this. So here again we have this question, and then you can choose your answer and move to the next one like this. Okay, then you can again check your questions if you wanted to, if your time is remaining. Now you can see there is 0 unseen or incomplete question as you have completed all the questions. Now there are some options given. First is end review. When you end the review, the screen will be disappear. And the next is review all. If you click on that option, it will mean you want to recheck all the questions that you have completed. Next is review incomplete, that you wanted to review only that question which is incomplete. If we clicked on it, there are no incomplete questions to review. This indicator is popped up as we have completed all the question and no question is incomplete. Now the last option is given review flagged. If we clicked on it, then we have the one question, again the question number 3 which we flagged, then we can review this one. Then if you wanted to move towards the review screen, then you can again click on the review screen. That's how you're going to use the review screen. Now there are some instructions. Below is a summary of your answers. You can review your questions in 3 different ways. The buttons in the lower right hand corner correspond to these choices. First, review all your questions and answers. As I already told you, if you wanted to review all of your questions and answers, then you can click on the review all button. Next, we have an option for review questions that are incomplete. So as we don't have any incomplete questions, so we cannot move to that one. Third point, review questions that are flagged for review. As we click on the review for flagged, then you have seen that we moved on the flagged portion. You may also click on a question number to link directly to its location. That's how also you can move to the section. So here we have all information about this review section, and we have discussed the example questions about the 5 subtest portion. I hope you guys understand the concept that what type of questions are included in these 5 subtests. Now let's move towards our question tutorials. We will practice our questions for every section, and then you could have an idea, then you can be prepared yourself for your test. So here we have the question tutorial. Welcome to the UCAT question tutorial. So here we have some slides. So let's move towards the next one. Okay, first we have introduction. This tutorial contains general test strategies which apply to all sections of test and covers. Okay, in this portion there are some strategies as given, or you can say provided to you, so you can read them and prepare yourself for that during your test. First we're going to learn about general strategies for approaching your UCAT preparation, and then we have strategies for effectively working through questions along with useful hints and tips. So these are the main points that we're going to learn in this section. So first we have general preparation strategies. Prepare thoroughly using the official question banks and practice tests. These are generated by our official question writers and are representative of the questions you will see in the live test. Okay, using these question banks, or you can say the practice test, you can prepare yourself by official question writers, so you will have an idea that what type of questions can come in the test. If you are using practice resources from commercial training companies, please note these may contain questions that are not necessarily the standard of those in the test. This may distort your performance while practicing. So if you are seeking your knowledge from any training companies, you don't have to be whole dependent on these ones, because they don't taught you about the standard questions that could include in the test. So you have to practice it from here. Commercial training companies will not replicate UCAT scoring and bandings accurately and may give misleading indicators of your anticipated UCAT score. Next, we have try to practice under exam conditions that replicate the test center environment where possible. That is, using a keyboard and mouse. Okay, now you wanted to practice under exam conditions, that how you're going to do it there, then you can replicate your environment like a test one by using a keyboard and mouse with which you are comfortable. Use the on-screen calculator built into the question banks and practice tests rather than your own handheld calculator to ensure you are familiar with this. So if you are practice these question banks just sitting in your home, in your room, you don't need to use the handheld calculator to solve these questions. You have to use the on-screen calculator, so you will become more familiar with it during your test. You will not find any difficulty during your tests or your questions, so you can use it easily there. That's why you have to always practice your on-screen calculator other than the handheld. When using the official UCAT question banks, keep a record of which sets of questions you have answered in each bank. Okay, when we move towards the UCAT question banks, that are the 5 subtest portion, then you have to keep a record for every set which you have answered. You can then use the navigator tool to jump back to where you left off when you next return. The official UCAT practice tests are the most valuable resource you have. Don't waste them by attempting them before you have done any preparation questions. Because the UCAT test is the very most valuable and precious resource you have. You cannot just waste it by attempting it without any practice, without any preparation. So that's why your preparation, your practice is very important before performing this test. Make a note of how many questions you get correct or incorrect for each practice test to see if you are improving. So whenever you practice in your home, you just have to write down that how many questions you did correct and how many incorrect, so that you can improve in the next time. Use the timed versions to identify the subtests where you need to manage your time better. Every question has a time limit, as I told you about it, and you have to manage this time, and you can manage it by practicing it during practice test questions in your home. Then you can have an idea that how you're going to solve a single question in how much time. Focus your preparation on your weaker subtest. Whichever subtest you find difficulty in it, you can focus on it and you can do more practice on this subtest so you can improve on it. Next we have, for most section there is only one correct answer. However, the decision making and situation judgment subtests include drag and drop questions. Most of the sections have only the options are given and you have to choose the only one correct answer. But there are some portions like the decision making and the situation judgment subtest where the drag and drop options are available. So they can be in that subtest more than one statement could be true. There is no negative marking for wrong answers. Points are not deducted. So you should always attempt a guess rather than leaving a question blank. Okay, so there is this one is very good thing in the UCAT, that there is no negative marking for wrong answers. So if you don't know the answer of any questions, you just have to guess it, the closer one you think that it could be true. You just have to attempt it rather than leaving it. If unsure or struggling with the question, eliminate the obvious wrong answer and use your best judgment to select an answer, then flag it for review and move on. If you are unsure with any question, you don't know that the answer, then you can leave it for review. Just click the flag for review option and then you can move on. You can recheck it at the last. Some candidates use the flag for review tool to triage, or you can say prioritize the questions. Answering those question types, they find simplest first, and then coming back to those they find trickier or more time consuming. Okay, this one is also a, you can say, a trick or a strategy to solve your questions. The questions that you find easier and less time consuming, you can solve it first, and the remaining one you can leave it for review and solve it at the end of the subtest. So the questions that are time consuming and find trickier, that are complex to solve, you can leave it for review and then you can solve them at the last of the subtest. Next we have, you can try this strategy in the practice tests, or you may prefer to work methodically through each question. So you can try this strategy in your practice test. Whenever you're practicing your questions, you are preparing for your test, you can try this strategy and then you can overcome this problem. If you have time remaining at the end of the subtest, you can use the review screen to go back and revisit flagged or unanswered questions. Okay, now you have completed all the questions that you know the answer, that you find easier, but still there is time remaining. Then you can use the review screen and you can check the questions that you leave for reviewed or unanswered questions. Then you can recheck them or you can answer them if your time is still remaining. Okay, next we have, keep an eye on the timer in the top right hand corner of the screen within each section. As we have discussed the time section in the last video, that there is a timer will be given at the top right corner on the blue toolbar. So you always have to keep your eye on that timer, that how much time is remaining for this question, and then you can solve it quickly and then move to the next screen. Below this you can see the question number you are on. The one we have discussed, progressive indicator, is the number of questions, that on which question you are on and how many are remaining, out of how many. Pace yourself and try to answer all the questions in each subtest. The subtest you are solving as your practice test, you have tried to solve all the questions and try to give answer of all the questions. So it will be improve your ability to choose the right options. Finally, try to stay calm during the test. No need to be nervous, no need to be intense. You just need to be calm down and during the test, so it will not make you more tense during the test. Otherwise, if you feel nervous or tense during the test, you can lose your marks during the test in these questions. If a subtest has not gone well, try to clear your mind before the next section and stay positive. Now you have completed one subtest and it's not gone well. Don't need to be worried about it. Just leave it off, clear your mind and move towards the next section and stay positive. So it will not ruin your next subtest also. Just try to be good in the next one. Leave the tension of the last one. Just stay positive during your test. Okay, now you have finished. You should now view the remaining question tutorials. Each in-depth tutorial include tips and strategies on how to approach and answer each of the different question types within all 5 subtests. You can find loads more preparation resources, including free practice questions and 4 time practice tests on the website. Okay, now in each tutorial, in each subtype, there are some tips and strategies are given for every section, and every tip and strategies is different for every section, that how you're going to solve this section and how you're going to solve the next one. So here we have the first question tutorial, which is verbal reasoning question tutorial. So let's start from here. Let's see what we're going to learn in this section. First we have introduction. This tutorial helps you to think about how to approach the verbal reasoning section of the UCAT, and covers an overview of the verbal reasoning subtest and its timing, strategies for approaching the different questions, along with useful hints and tips. An outline of the different question types with examples of each for you to view and try. So these are the 3 key points that we're going to see in this question tutorial. First we're going to learn about the overview, the verbal reasoning and its timing, with how much time is given in this subtest, and then the strategies, that how we're going to use tips and tricks to solve these questions, and some examples. Okay, next, first we have overview, verbal reasoning overview. Verbal reasoning assesses your ability to read and think carefully about information presented in passages, and to determine whether specific conclusions can be drawn from information presented. Okay, in verbal reasoning, there are some passages are given from which you can choose the right information to choose the right option. You don't need to use any prior knowledge to answer these questions. You just have to use the right information that is included in the passage. Okay, so here we have given that 21 minutes will be given to you for this section. 21 minutes. And 44 questions will be included in this section in the verbal reasoning question. 11 passages, each associated with 4 questions. As you guys know, we have 44 questions and 11 passages. So, one passage for 4 questions. Next, doctors and dentists need excellent verbal reasoning skills in order to understand complex information and communicate this clearly and simply to patients. The one who are doctors and dentists, they need to be good in this portion, which is verbal reasoning skill. To understand the complexity of the information, how to get your answer from this information. They must be able to interpret findings from published materials and apply this to their own practice, critiquing such materials and drawing conclusions as to the validity of any findings. So, by giving answer to these questions, they must be able to interpret findings from the published materials. They can draw conclusions easily to any findings. So this will be prove very informative for doctors and dentists. For some questions, you will be presented with the question or incomplete statement with 4 answer options. These require you to make inferences and draw conclusions. Okay, there are some questions in which there is a question included or only a incomplete statement which you have to complete from the options that are given below. And this portion will have 4 answer options and you have to choose the only one correct option. For others, you decide whether the statement provided follows logically from the information in the passage with 3 answer options. And for the other remaining questions, there are some statements given and you have to check, is this statement following the information that is given in the passage? 3 answer options will be given and you have to choose the one correct option. Again, it's written for each question there is only one correct answer, not more than one. Now, verbal reasoning strategies. Each passage is linked to 4 questions. Passages vary in length and may contain a load of information. You can work on your speed reading skills during your preparation by regularly skimming news articles for key facts. Okay, now in this section, each passage is given and 4 questions are linked to that passage. Passage may be vary in length, it could be short, it could be long, and lot of information it contains. You can work on your speed reading skills. You can practice your questions also by reading these paragraphs, or you can say these passages, that in how much time you can read the whole passage, because you have only 21 minutes for the section and you have to complete all the questions in that time only. Okay, next we have consider different strategies to approach this section. You may want to skim read the passage first before attempting the questions. Or you may wish to read the questions first, identifying keywords, and then search the passage for each answer. Okay, now there is a strategy that how you're going to solve a question by reading a passage in the subtest. What you have to do is to read the passage, skim read the passage first before attempting your question. First you have to know that what type of information this passage contains. Or you may wish to read the question first, identifying keywords, and then search the passage for each answer. So the trick that I have told you is also given there, that you can also use the keywords from the question by reading the question first, and then you can use these keywords and search these keywords in the passage, and then you can find your right option there. This one, it will be also a less time consuming strategy to solve your question. Different strategies may work better for different questions. You need to identify answers quickly without missing any relevant information. Okay, so there are different type of questions included in the subtest and different strategies you can use to solve these questions. You need to identify your answer quickly without missing any relevant information. You can identify your answer as quickly as you just read your passage. Find a strategy works that best for you and practice this. While practicing your questions, you have to find a strategy that works best for you. So the strategy that will be less time consuming, the strategy that will give you the best information from the passage to solve the correct option. Work systematically through the answer options in each question. Eliminate incorrect answers if you can. Be on the lookout for implications within each passage which allow you to draw conclusions. Okay, so eliminate incorrect answers if you can. If there are some incorrect answers, you can eliminate them and be on the lookout for implications within each passage which allow you to draw the right conclusion. But don't make assumptions in the absence of explicit information. If you don't know the right option, don't need to make any assumption that it could be true, it could be not. Just choose the right one. It will be good for you. Questions in the subtest fall into 5 broad categories. First one, be true, false, and can't tell. Second, incomplete statements. Third, according to the passage. 4, accept questions. 5, most likely. So these are the 5 types, or you can say 5 categories that are included in the verbal reasoning test questions. So first we have true, false, or can't tell questions. Some passages are followed by questions which give you a statement and ask you whether the statement is true, false, or you can't tell. As we have seen the last statement of the verbal reasoning one, that passage is given and there is a one question, or you can say a statement, and you have to choose true, false, or can't tell. Some type of questions are included in this. From these 3 answer options, ensure you base your choice on the information provided. So the statement is given, you can use the keywords from the statement and search your option or right answer from the passage and select the right answer. Be careful not to make unjustified assumptions. If you don't know the right option, you don't know the right answer, you don't need to make any assumptions that will not make the option right. Here is an example question. So this one is an example question like this. Paragraph will be given to you, and not just a single paragraph, a single passage. Two to three passages will be given, and there is a statement, and true, false, can't tell, three options are given. So the question is, the patients treated by the train all belong to the ruling party, which runs the government of the country. Now you can use the ruling party, government of the country as the keywords to find your answers from these passages. And then you can choose your right option. You can also use a train as your keyword, and then you can choose the right option. Moving towards the next strategy. So here they give the answer that it would be an easy assumption to make that, especially in a civil war situation. So in paragraph 1 and 3, we are told the rulers need to find a way to treat their followers who had been injured in the civil war. But there is nothing to say that these are the only people who receive treatment on the train. Paragraph 3 tells us how many people have been treated, but not whether they are or have to be members of a particular party to access treatment. So the answer must be can't tell. Next type we have two incomplete statement questions. Incomplete statements are not written as questions. You are given a statement and the four answer options to conclude the statement. You must find the most appropriate answer that would best finish the statement based on the information you have been given in the passage. So incomplete statements are not written as questions. Only the statement is given which is not complete. You can complete it by choosing the right statement from the options. So four answer options will be given to you in that type, and you have to choose the one correct one. You must have to find the one most appropriate answer that would finish the statement that is incomplete given. And here is an example question given, so you will know which type of question it is. So here we have a passage, but where we have a incomplete statement, which is Ministry of Justice research supports the use of restorative justice. So this is the incomplete statement, and four options are given, and any one of the option would be correct to complete this statement. So you can use this restorative justice as a keyword or Ministry of Justice research to choose your right option from the paragraph. So let's see which one is the correct option. D is the correct answer and is justified by the two sentences in the final paragraph. So in the final paragraph there is a statement given to complete the statement. So that's why option D is the correct answer. Next we have according to the passage questions. You will give given a statement and asked to choose which of four answers is best supported by the passage. The answer options can be quite lengthy. Read the question carefully and answer based solely on the information in the passage. Don't be influenced by any prior knowledge or opinions. Okay, in these types of questions, a statement is given and you have to choose and asked to choose which of four answers is best supported by the passage. In these types of questions, answer could be lengthy. Note the question, answers could be lengthy. You just have to read the question carefully and then you can choose the right information, right answer option. So here we have an example question for this section. Like this paragraph is given and then we have a statement that according to the passage, the 1662 Herd tax was seen as being preferable to a poll tax levied on every individual in the country because. Now you have to choose this because answer from these options by using keywords, or you can read the whole passage. So they say the answer is A, as para 2 tells us that in 1662, when King Charles II needed money, instead of introducing a poll tax which people could evade by moving from one area to another, Sir William Patty proposed a tax on herds and fireplaces in the property occupied. There is no evidence to support any of the other responses. So these types of questions included in the third type. Okay, next we have the fourth type, which is accept questions. Accept questions ask you to weigh up the evidence to reach a conclusion. You should find the most appropriate answer based on the information in the passage. Remember not to use any prior knowledge. So accepting options, or you can say questions, ask you to weigh up the evidence. You have to provide the evidence to reach a conclusion. You have to find the most appropriate answer. So here we have an example. Statement is, the passage takes a pessimistic view of Britain possibly becoming a string of islands over the next 200 years for all the reasons below except. Okay, now there we have four options. Three of them is correct, but not the one which is incorrect. So you have to choose that one option which is incorrect because they say except that. So that's why which is not right for this statement. So there they say D is not reflected in the passage. That is why this is the correct option. Okay, next we have the last type for the verbal reasoning, which is most likely questions. Most likely are again questions where you need to weigh up the evidence to reach a conclusion. Again, you are presented with four answer options. There is only one correct answer. However, the choice may appear less definite and a little more speculative.